Hey guys, HDV here and welcome to a brand new video. Today we've got quite a few things to go over. Loads of new Pokemon events have been announced. We have some new Pokedex leak updates to go over for Legends Z-A, and as well as that, some new Nintendo Switch 2 details and updates have also gone live. A lot of things to break down, so if you're excited for the video, make sure to drop a like down below, leave a comment, subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So, starting things off, let's quickly go over all of these new miscellaneous Pokemon events. The first one is for Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. Unfortunately, it is just for South Korea, but maybe you have a friend in there, or maybe you live there, or whatever, but this is a new mystery gift that's going to be available. So Cerebi tweeting out saying, Cerebi update, a special distribution of a Ditto in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is to be held in South Korea as part of the special Ditto project campaign running across the franchise in South Korea this month. So again, nothing crazy about this Ditto. It doesn't look like. It's just going to be one of those particular mystery gifts that you're probably not going to be able to get your hands on, but you know, it's not like something crazy you're going to miss out on. But I thought I'd cover it anyway in case anybody is watching from South Korea. So that is the Scarlet and Violet update. Next up, we also have the Grand Challenge 2025 update. We've got Cerebi here tweeting out saying, Cerebi update, the next Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet online competition has been announced. The Grand Challenge 2025 4 runs Regulation 1 rules and only in championship point eligible regions. Registration opens on the 1st of May and battles from the 9th of May. So that is the Thursday. Next Thursday, I believe, is when that goes live. And then obviously you got the night until the 9th of May to do the battles and stuff. Pretty sure it's one of those ones as well where if you take part, you get like a couple of bottle caps and whatnot. Again, not really anything special because you can just easily get them in the game nowadays. But either way, it's just another kind of online battle competition that's gone live or has been announced. Next up, we got some Pokemon Go updates to go over as well. Cerebi here tweeting out saying, Cerebi update, the next Pokemon Go Max Battle weekend has been announced. It adds Dynamax Suicune into the game, and this runs from the 10th of May at 6 AM local time through to the 11th of May at 9 PM local time. So the 10th of May is not for a while, to be fair. It's not next Saturday, it is the Saturday after. So you got a while until that goes live. Anyway, but that is the Dynamax raids for Suicune. And then as well as that, we have another event that's been announced for Pokemon Go, saying witness glory with the Pokemon Go debut of King Gambit, the big blade Pokemon, during the Crown Clash event. May the 10th at 10 AM to May the 18th at 8 PM local time. So this is all the information you need to know about this event. So the event bonuses, 2 times XP for evolving Pokemon. You have an increased chance to encounter Shiny Nidoqueen wearing a crown, Shiny Nidoking wearing a crown, Shiny Slowpoke, Shiny Combee, and Shiny Litleo. And then catching Slowpoke may award a King's Rock as well. There's also Pokemon debuts as well. King Gambit, there's new costumed Pokemon in this event as well, being the Nidoqueen, Nidoking in crowns. For wild encounters, you're looking at Slowpoke, Slakoth, Piplup, Combee, Snivy, Litleo, and also Pawniard. And then in raids, you're going to see Sneasel, Clink, and Pawniard in 1-star raids. And then in 3-star raids, Nidoking and Nidoqueen wearing a crown. Collection challenges, field research task rewards, all that jazz. So those are all of these sort of events that have been announced over the last couple of days. Coming up next, let's go over some new Pokedex leaks for Pokemon Legends Z-A. Some Pokemon that are returning and some Pokemon that are not returning. Again, this is all taken from the Terra leak. It's all taken from the Ball Guy Discord server. So you don't really have to take it with a grain of salt because it's very likely to be true because this is coming from reputable sources. But at the end of the day, things might change. They are going off a beta build in that. Anyway, let's take a look at some returning Pokemon. So the Hoenn starters are going to return in Pokemon Legends Z-A, which also means that you're probably going to be able to get Mega Sceptile, Mega Blaziken, and also Mega Swampert as well. Don't know how you get them. Not sure if they're going to be in the wild or somebody gives them to us. I'm not really too sure because we now know that Sycamore gives us the Kanto starters, I do believe. The Gen 6 starters are in the wild, and then obviously we get a choice between Chikorita, Totodile, and Tepig. So that's 3 starter sets that are going to be there technically, and we're going to get another starter set which is also available in the game as well, which are going to be the Hoenn starters, which kind of makes sense because obviously they can Mega Evolve. I'm assuming you're just going to be able to find them in the wild, but again, it's not been confirmed yet and we haven't really seen it. We'll probably see that in like a trailer at some point. They'll just kind of like have them in kind of one of the scenes or something like that. So the Hoenn starters are going to be in, and their Mega Evolutions as well. Latias and Latios are not in though, unfortunately. Really, really upsetting because I mean, they don't exactly have the coolest Mega Evolutions, but I'm a big fan of the Latias and Latios pairing, so it would have been nice to see them in the game. Because obviously, we also know that Mega Rayquaza, Mega Groudon, well, I say Mega Groudon, Primal Groudon, and Primal Kyogre are also not in the game. So all the Hoenn Mega Evolutions not going to make the cut, but the Hoenn Starter Mega Evolutions did make the cut. So Latias, Latios, not in. The Hoenn Starters are in. Next up, Diancie, she is in, which kind of makes sense, being a Generation 6 game and stuff like that. But she is going to be in the game, which, again, probably going to be some sort of side quest that you have to do for her, or something similar to how we got the mythicals in Pokemon Legends Arceus, because we could get all the Generation 4 mythicals like Fiona and Manaphy and Darkrai and Arceus, stuff like that. So it's going to be very similar, I'd expect, in Pokemon Legends Z-A. Very likely to be shiny locked, but this Pokemon is going to be in Pokemon Legends Z-A. We've already gone over these as well, being Mega Rayquaza, Primal Groudon, and Primal Kyogre. Again, not sure why they're not in. It's a bit unfortunate, but they're not going to be in the game. But two legendary Mega Evolutions that are going to be in the game are Mega Mewtwo X and Mega Mewtwo Y. So I would be surprised to have not seen these in the game. But I don't know. I feel like because of the anime and stuff, like Rayquaza is such a key part of the anime that I'm surprised that that's not going to be in the game. Especially because we've just got a shiny Rayquaza as well from that Terra raid. So that's a shame. But Mega Mewtwo X and Mega Mewtwo Y are going to be in Pokemon Legends Z-A. So that's kind of just some updates regarding the Pokedex. Again, we don't know if they're going to be in the Pokedex or they're just going to be random extra Pokemon you can catch. Because we know that the Pokedex is going to be around 200 and... I think it was like 230, something like that. But again, these might be some extra Pokemon. Or like Zygarde was like 232 in the Pokedex or something. So we might have some mythicals after that. So it might stretch to like 235, 238, 240. And then obviously have some kind of miscellaneous legendaries as well that are just kind of floating around that you obviously not going to catch for the Pokedex. But anyway, that's just some Pokedex updates regarding Pokemon for Legends Z-A. Moving on, we have some new Nintendo Switch 2 updates. Before I get into this, I really hope you were managing to pre-order your Nintendo Switch 2 last night at midnight if you are in America or Canada. Sounds like it didn't go great. But hopefully you got lucky and hopefully you got one. But we do have this update regarding Japan though. So Nintendo Switch 2 interest on official Japanese store far exceeds expectations with 2.2 million applications. President shares a statement. So they knew it was going to sell and they knew people would be interested, but this is like beyond what they were expecting. So Nintendo Switch 2 interest on Japanese store far exceeds expectations. President shares a statement. So Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa shared a statement today about Japanese pre-orders on the My Nintendo store in light of significant interest that exceeded the company's expectations. According to Furukawa, 2.2 million people registered interest in reserving the system through its official website. That number far exceeds our expectations and far exceeds the number of Nintendo Switch 2 consoles that can be delivered from the My Nintendo store on June the 5th, Furukawa said. Many customers won't be selected, but will be automatically enrolled for a second lottery later on. So this is the full statement saying, hello, this is Furukawa. In order to deliver the Nintendo Switch 2 to you, we have produced many materials and proceeded with production in advance. On April the 2nd, we announced details of the Nintendo Switch 2 and started accepting applications for the lottery sale on the My Nintendo store. As a result, we received a very large number of applications from approximately 2.2 million people in Japan alone as well, which is just absolutely bizarre. However, this number far exceeds our expectations and far exceeds the number of Nintendo Switch 2 consoles that can be delivered from the My Nintendo store on June the 5th. Therefore, unfortunately, when the winners are announced tomorrow, April the 24th, which was obviously today, we expect that a considerable number of customers will not be selected. In order to avoid the trouble of reapplying for those who were not selected in the first lottery sale, the My Nintendo store will automatically carry over those who were not selected in the first lottery sale to the second lottery sale. However, even including the number of units for the second lottery sale, we cannot respond to all of the applications we received. We deeply apologize for not being able to meet your expectations despite our advanced preparation. So they prepared very well. They've said that multiple times in statements to not have this issue, but they're still having this issue because of how much people want this Nintendo Switch 2. So you got a lot of people obviously talking about the price and stuff, but it clearly isn't affecting people that much. But I guess the Japanese one is going to be a lot cheaper, because I assume a lot of these are the Japanese only version, which is, you know, like $200 cheaper or whatever than in what it is in like Switzerland. So that's probably why people are trying to get it. But still far exceeding what they were expecting to get. In response to this demand, we are currently working on to further strengthen our production system. In addition, starting tomorrow, April the 24th, game stores and online shops nationwide will begin accepting reservations or lottery sales for the Nintendo Switch 2 console. Please check the information of each store for details. The My Nintendo store will also continue to sell the console after the release date. Details will be announced at a later date. We will continue to ship the console with the cooperation of retailers, and will continue to make efforts to deliver as many Nintendo Switch 2 consoles as possible to our customers. We plan to continue producing and shipping a considerable number of Nintendo Switch 2 consoles in the future. We apologize for the delay in our ability to meet your expectations, and we appreciate your understanding. Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders will finally open tomorrow, technically as early as midnight in the United States and Canada following a delay. And like I say, really hope that you are able to get one there. And again, we also have this post as well saying, Nintendo President Furukawa apologized for not being able to meet Switch 2 demand in Japan. There are more than 2.2 million pre-order applications on the My Nintendo store alone, which far exceeds their expectations. Even with multiple lotteries, they can't guarantee units for everyone. They are working on increasing production. So to put this into perspective, the original Switch, now the best-selling system ever in Japan, sold 330,000 during its first weekend. Now we are talking about over 2 million pre-order requests from only the Nintendo store. This isn't even counting other retailers. It's absolutely insane. It's bizarre. 330,000 to around 2 million, because you're not going to register interest if you're not going to get it, really, let's be honest. So let's say 2 million people are registered interest to try and get it. That's like, what a jump that is. And that's just from the Nintendo store as well. It's bizarre, man. It's crazy. Like, this console is going to it's gonna do numbers. It's gonna do absolutely ridiculous numbers. But anyway, that is the Japan update for the Nintendo Switch 2. Finishing things off though, segueing into what analysts are predicting for the Switch 2, we have this post here from Nintendo Soup saying analysts predict the Nintendo Switch 2 will have massive launch year sales, which again, we're expecting because in Japan alone, it's gone from 330,000 to 2.2 million, and that's just from the My Nintendo store. So analysts predict the Nintendo Switch 2 will have massive launch year sales. So after witnessing the, I suppose that's fever surrounding pre-orders, industry analysts are making bold new predictions for the Nintendo Switch 2's launch sales. So despite initial skepticism surrounding the high price of the console and its games, analysts are now predicting that the Switch 2 could sell around 9 million units at launch and possibly 20 million in its first year alone. The 9 million figure would be double that of the previous record of 4.5 million held by both PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Double. Not just beating it, but doubling it. New 2.2 million entries for the Switch 2 lottery sale in Japan is simply amazing. Analysts say Nintendo is selling more than 20 million units in its first year. If it can supply that amount, real possibility. And then also JP represents 36 Japan represents 36.8 million of 150.9 Switches shipped, which is 24%. Hence, it's possible the 2.2 million in Japan pre-orders is signed. The demand is 9 million plus globally for the launch, which is just crazy. Notably, these predictions seem primarily based on the reception in Japan, where Nintendo is afraid they will not have enough consoles to meet demand. We'll be sure to report back with more updates as they come. But that's the 2.2 million in Japan, and obviously Japan is smaller than places like America and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean 9 million first week, like that's just crazy numbers. And it also shows that the price doesn't matter to a lot of people, because if they're doubling what the PlayStation, well, the way I look at it is, obviously the PlayStation 5 was like $550 or something, obviously with the digital and the disc version, and that sold 4.5 million units worldwide. So the console itself is kind of cheaper. It's everything else that's more expensive. Again, a lot of people are going to be buying the console, and then really they don't have a lot of games to buy for it. I don't think there's going to be a crazy amount of people buying, you know, Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition on its own. They're just going to buy the upgrade for the Switch 1 version. So the only Switch 2 game you're probably going to get on launch is Mario Kart, which again comes with the console if you're getting that bundle. So yeah, it's going to be wild. I now understand what, like, I thought it was going to be easy to pre-order it because they just carried on talking about how they've produced enough, but they haven't. It's going to be probably double the PS4, PS5 sales. It's going to be crazy. But anyway, wanted to go over it because it just kind of puts into perspective how big this console is and how much people want it. But yeah, that's the kind of Switch 2 sales situation. Let me know your thoughts on all that. Let me know your thoughts on the returning Pokemon and what aren't returning. Again, I'm a little bit upset that kind of none of the Hoenn legendaries are returning, but it is what it is. Cool that we're getting the Hoenn starters though, Diancie, Mewtwo, stuff like that. But yeah, it is what it is. And then make sure to do the events and stuff, obviously, if you're a fan of all that. But thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, drop a like. Let's try and hit 500. Leave a comment. Subscribe if you're brand new. Ring the notification bell for daily Pokemon content. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And until next time, peace.